through this afternoon. Did you hear what it said?
No,
I'm telling you, she's going to record it. And all y'all talk, and like, I want you to tell the first place you know of that Mom and Daddy lived, or where they both lived before they got married. It doesn't matter. We'll start off with grandmother and grandfather.
Okay.
And grandpa,
That's a good deal.
and you know where your daddy was born? Right over here.
At Brentwood.
Mr. Jones was born in Brentwood.
Are you going to interview on it?
No, we're just going to start talking.
I don't go
Conversation, what
He
you
was born
going
in
to do?
Brentwood, I
He
know.
was on the phone.
I can't.
Owen.
Okay, now, Andrew's going to be taking a picture. So I say, playing low. Oh, what? Okay, this is it. Oh, sure. Okay. Now, so we're recording, she's taking pictures. So,
Don't ask me anything.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now, brother, what, you know more about this than us because you're old.
Don't use no ugly language or anything.
Okay.
It's all got to be positive. No, don't sugarcoat it, but don't get real mean either. You know, we want something that I truly be proud of.
Maybe we can sell this tape for $1 million.
Well, the first thing, Daddy's father was John Jones and Lucy Goose, his parents. Mama's parents was John Pound and Virgie.
Good.
Okay. Okay, then it was Charles David Jones married
Laura Virginia Jones.
Flower Virginia Pound.
Pound.
Okay. Now then, where were they living when they got married?
They lived on the Doak Summer farm when they got married. That was grandmother's sister's farm.
Okay, grandmother.
Grandmother's, his mother's sister's farm. Made Uncle Doak his uncle. And I don't know whether he lived there 1 or 2 years, but he lived in the section of the Doak Summer place that was the Mays place. I understand Doak Summer bought the Mays place. The Mays place, Mr. Mays run the bank in Leipers Fort back then. Now, I got that from Uncle Bunny.
That's good.
And that place joined with the Brown place, but Uncle Doak, that's where he lived. Of course, Uncle Doak, we looked at Uncle Doak back then. Well, I guess they had money. They had a telephone, they had a good big car, and their boys was in college, same age of Papa.
Oh,
But then I don't know when that girl got killed. About the time. Now I don't remember any of this. This is what I've been told. The first thing I remember was Bill's place.
Tell how the daughter got killed.
well, you said,
I don't remember it well. Hold on a minute.
All I remember is talk
The
about
daughter he was referring to was killed, broke the gate to go to the house. He finished it.
come into the Doak Summer place off of the Summers Road. She had a pony buggy, and the pony, I understand she was coming from school. I don't know where. But anyway, this pony was sort of trained. She'd get out and open the gate, and he'd go through and then stop. But this sixth time didn't stop, and she passed the gate and run and jumped and jumped along back to the pony just walking. But she got on back to the buggy, and when she foot slipped, her right foot slipped, and went in the spoke of the buggy. And it turned round and round and round and round, and they heard her hollering. I don't know who, but anyway, she died that night. I don't know, back then you couldn't get the doctor.
Is any of their children living now?
They all dead.
but I thought there were, I know there was Glenn and Johnson and name the rest of them. William.
William, then they had two older ones, Glenn and, boy, I can't even think of, I can't think of the other man's name.
Okay, how long did they live there?
I don't know how long they lived there.
I mean, mom and dad. Well,
Either one, I think they lived there 2 years.
Well, you know,
Aunt Molly's son was grandmother's sister.
Yeah.
And they had twins. She had a twin named.
Yeah, Monterey Little White.
Yeah.
Jane.
Had a twin named there.
Jane
But-
and Molly.
Well, Mary Jane has, their grandmother's mother's picture. When they was dividing the thing, someone asked, Christine, it was Joe and Christine and myself out there. And Christine said, well, reckon what we ought to do with this picture, with grandmother's mother's picture. And I said, well, I'd like to have it to give Mary Jane, because Mary Jane was named after her. And so they had taken it out of the frame. It was in a real pretty big frame. They took, Aunt Thelma had stole the frame, but they had framed it with a window from about one of Uncle Herbert's boxcar signs. And so Mary Jane has it on her stair, still in that boxcar in the window. It was made, the frame was in the window. And she said she'd much rather have it than that real expensive frame, really, because of the history it's got. But Mary Jane has that picture. And that's the reason.
Well, you were born there.
I was born there,
In February.
and Pop bought a new shotgun the day I was born, and us Bunyan was down there to see the new baby, and Pop showing us Bunyan the shotgun shot a hole through the seam.
You was born at Uncle
That was
Yeah.
February the 27th, 1914.
What is that, the gun that little brother bought?
Yeah, that same gun.
Oh, I
But now I got that from Mr. Bunyan. We couldn't hear anything, and I couldn't hear much.
I told you that too.
Okay, now where did they move after they left Dayton?
What?
Where did they move after they left Uncle Dole?
Where did you move? Your mom and dad.
Well, they moved to, well, let me, tell me where they moved from. My mind not that good.
They moved to Mr. Biddle?
No,
They
they
moved to
Mr. Quinn Hughes?
Willie Hughes.
didn't use it, play. No, it was pretty good, but it was, you know.
I'll take it.
You know, the reason Papa and Mama was always so close to well, I just have to give up.
Uncle Dole?
When I had to read because that was their uncle,
Yeah.
and he was a kid's spoiler, and Aunt Molly waited on her family just like a servant. She'd take off those shoes off. She wouldn't let the kids get up and do nothing, but she always cooked bread on the fireplace.
Did you remember that?
Yeah.
And when you go in, you could tell whether she had any new bread, and I thought you smell it.
Did you be hungry?
And if the rooster crows, if this morning the rooster crows in front of her house, you would get the broom and sweep up a little bit, so that big puppy was coming.
Yeah.
Didn't they? Aunt Molly made kids.
They went to
Yeah,
put it,
that baby
this,
And
who got the chicken? Who fought Miss Hughes. Okay, they went to the Quilly Hughes place.
That's what I thought.
And sister was going around.
Where was the Fuller Hughes place?
Where Quilly used to live?
Up there right from you.
Where your rich buddy down there is.
Buddy Kilman on the
Yeah.
house.
I don't know who lives in there. But I'll tell you where, see that one all the way across right there where Aunt Thelma lived. You can see that branch up back towards Hillsborough, the old road come down south. That come off of Quilly Hughes, Miss Hughes' place. That was, and Grafton Adams, his mom and daddy lived on it back there. You know what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Did you live
Yeah,
back
those
there?
are,
Yeah, I can't think their name now.
Adam.
I remember walking back around there, seemed like this drop of a spring back
Live
there.
there.
You been back?
Oh,
We gonna get to your time yet?
Yeah, long way off. Well, see, this it was just used as dog.
Okay. Oh, you
Okay,
really?
then,
How
then
long
they went from, I don't know anything, I don't remember anything about that.
Was that where sister was born?
Yeah, she was born.
She was born March the 5th,
Which one did?
1916. 1916?
I don't remember, well, was that statement?
Oh, Ellen Jones Oldby was born March the 5th, 1916. She married Curly Oldby on March the 14th, 1936. Kirby was born he was born March the 26th, 1914.
What book is that?
That's,
The one I'm getting?
This,
where did he go to? Where was King born?
Well, did the little move from there to the beautiful place?
yeah, and we stayed there. We left there about 1918.
Do you remember moving to the beautiful place?
No,
You remember living there though?
I've never been there. I remember Fowler Town,
We need to keep it running, so.
and I remember grandmother's father. I remember him. They lived at Uncle Joe's place down there. That was old Luke Mitchell place. Joe just lived there. That was a place they used to walk up that bank and one fall.
You're talking about that hill club?
That's after. And I can remember Hartwell Bizzle. Miss Bizzle took care of bread and wine, see. Well, Hartwell made it have church every now and then. And he'd sit there and get some bread and wine, and we'd have church. Now, I remember while we was there, Papa had already been called for service, and they didn't take him because they had a wife and 2 kids. Now, this is what I heard myself, not what somebody else heard. And then, but I remember just maybe later on, Papa and Mama talking the night in bed, and Papa had made arrangement for Grandpa to take care of us. But in the next week or two, the war was over. It might have been once, I don't know, but he never did go to surgery.
Did you say you moved from there about 1918?
Yeah. Now all I got going, we went to this, to do when the soldiers come home. And in Nashville, it's the fairground.
Well, now, go ahead. I was born soon after y'all moved to the Brown place in London. I was born in 1918, which is very late part.
Now, where was this different?
Well, now, when was the bad war, when was the bad influenza?
Okay, that was
That's about 1918.
I don't know.
1901.
I don't tell it how, but that's what I was going about.
Yeah, well, now, in
16. 16 and 18, ain't this when ain't Bonnie, ain't lost all her children.
yeah, that, what, this,
1918.
We get that on Monday.
yeah, well, now, that's getting close because the same year we moved there, I think was the bad flu year, but
Maybe that's the reason I had that pneumonia. Maybe that's the reason I had that pneumonia. So.
Well, it could be.
you was a kid, you was a baby when you had pneumonia now.
Now,
You weren't even, you was a baby.
Well, if I say I was born in 1918, that'd be when
Well,
you
that kid's about right.
What's your date?
1918, December 28th. Got a birthday, y'all remember?
We lived there till,
And I'll be,
I think 1933 or 34.
I'll be 74. Elton, 78.
You'll be 59.
8 now.
Yeah, and February 29th, Elton be that. And your birthday, we get married, but we get him a minute.
And then when was it since you went to Mississippi?
How you say?
When was it since you went to Mississippi? What year?
I don't know.
Just when you was a baby.
I was a baby.
Well, when did you get married?
February the 26th.
Huh?
27th, didn't it? 27th. You said 29th.
Well, I missed it, yeah.
Hey,
Here's the thing, Larry.
we stayed at the Brown place.
Going on a spring turkey like that.
Then they all died, but everybody got sick. I mean, Papa got sick, Papa, I remember that. Those Neville, not Neville, but Papa and Horace, they, Horace come over, what's the name?
These are black people.
I said, thank
Horace and black people would come over and come in the back kitchen and fix some breakfast. And then Papa would bring it in to Mama and we would eat breakfast. But he wouldn't come in the house. And he would leave one morning. He'd ready, Papa got his eggs already put in the skillet during that time. Only time I ever knew him cook these things. He didn't cook much then. But he had these eggs in the skillet and started to put them in the skillet. They was in a bowl. He about 6 eggs, see, and just before he got there, he got to go and it was one on the floor.
All for breakfast.
Really, and that was bad. Now, everybody was dying.
How long did we live there before we moved the first time, do you know?
I think 33 or 34. I don't know. I didn't have 30.
No, you moved, you moved over to the ground, over Miss Riley Hunt.
Well, when?
Well, I don't know.
No,
That's where I was.
26.
Little brother got born
26.
before we moved over there.
Yeah, I was born in 24, so if you were born in 18, we lived there at least 6 years.
You were born in
You was on a brown place? Yeah.
first time.
6 years.
City's moved. Well, okay, what's the date of your birth?
John the Baptist's birthday.
Oh, I got all John the Baptist this morning, and whatever, we don't have the Bible.
He's 6 months older than Christ. I was born on June the 23rd.
Oh, have mercy. I tell you what it's called.
We went to
1900.
Robin Hunter place.
I told you
That one in the room was
I told you about putting 2 sandals on Dan, one was a south fella.
Well, yeah, Earl was born this time at Brown Place.
What?
Earl was born when you moved, lived at Brown Place the second time.
What's the date on that?
Earl was born February the 5th, 1931, and died February the 2nd, 1977. She married Salem Buchanan, March 1952. And they had 5 children. 41, she's what, 31? 31, I'm telling you.
That's
I'm
when she
say
was 7 years, nearly 7 years old.
Earl was
6 and a half
born
years
in,
old. I was about 6 and a half years old when he was
Earl was born in 31.
That's what it has been.
Okay, well, we got it just right on moving back over there.
You know, it's one thing I don't remember.
Well, I finished grammar school in 33, and then we moved into 29.
I said a while ago that Earl was born at the Brown place, but he was born that year that I was in school. The first year I was in school, we had just moved back to the Brown place from the Robbie.
Okay, and is that where you...
That same year, we must have moved 1st of January, the last of December, and then he was born in February.
Now, is that, when you start school, did you start school and go to school in the church building?
Yeah?
With Junior Swing?
Well, now, when,
Was what?
With Junior Swing?
Yeah.
Y'all went and had school in the church?
Yeah. Marshall Liggett was in
Now,
there.
where was we living at that time?
We were living at Miss Robbins the first of the year, and then at the end of the year, we moved to the Brown place. So we went the whole year to Hillsborough School. I was a junior at Miss Robbins, and we changed, and I was a senior next year in high school.
I will also tell that Erna did not like first grade going to school in that church. He would cry to go home.
Yeah, I would. I don't know.
And I remember it, I really thought about it. And at that time, I was going to school, I said, in the church
You going to Methodist
It's
church?
a Methodist church up there, and the occasion for this is that the schoolhouse burned down, got struck with life, and and burnt down, and we had to go to school in the churches while they built the new
And the
school.
old building there, what do you call that building? I can't think of anything.
What? Where you went to school? Where you went to school?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I wasn't there.
Is that the old building where the people lived in and taught school? Is that what you're
No, the Old Man Rose lived there.
That's what I'm talking about. One is right there next to the
Yeah,
school.
right there. Sure, well, the firehouse down there, but Papa's now.
Yeah.
That's for sale, you want to buy part of the history as well.
It's right across from the church, yeah. And it's for sale again.
Has been, I believe it's fine,
When Paul did this,
I called sister, and she said one of the things she remembered mostly, and she couldn't remember exactly how many of it was, that when you went to church, she and Daddy, Mama and Daddy, and the baby rode in the buggy, and somebody else followed in the pony buggy.
that's when they had Bennett, the his name.
Well, who wasn't it? You and sister and
Yeah,
back?
sister, man, well, everybody, yes, it was a baby that had that. Before that, we stood on the saddle board, had a plank going. It wasn't, no,
That was what the spread was.
well, it wasn't a flat, they got a flat board right behind the horse, so when you go to the bathroom, somebody won't hit you in the face. So. Well, they put a plank between that and the seat, and they have to hold the feet back a little bit, all the feet be together. But I remember when Sister May rode on that thing, they have a plank off, you put your back against the saddle board, see, and they popping them, but now, we have a protection law around here, but when we would get to church, Mom look all around us and take something and brush us off. Where the old horse gone to the bathroom going along. They just cleaned up for going in. That's you.
I don't remember that either.
This is, I don't know about that, I don't remember that. This
Now, then we went to,
Even with the baby.
No, go ahead. Well, I'm gonna put in, I remember riding in the flat board.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
that was probably when Sister May was riding on the phone.
And, we did tell our age and how we was born and all this when we come down. And
Now, that pony,
Yeah.
I don't like a pony till this day. They're a nuisance, they're not anything to have. But that daggone pony, like we'd be riding to church on the side of the side, go up another street from, that was out, you'd beat him to death. He fought that horse.
He
And
followed
we
up.
hold him back seat and let him loose, and he drove, boy, we really go.
I would like to tell about when we was at Miss Robbins. Ellen and I can't talk. Ellen and I got a chicken or something, and we were throwing it up, trying to throw it up on top of the house. Some way we killed that chicken. Now, Pop was with me a few times, but I thought Mom was gonna kill it. And Mama was fine.
You know how to kill that chicken? You didn't get him far enough went up under the.
Yeah, went up there and killed it, and Mama, she whipped us. And that's about the only time there was more whipping us. We didn't fool with no more chicken.
Well, I didn't, the sister never had told me about that.
Let's see, when we were there, who was the baby? You?
Earl was the baby head.
I mean, it's a Robin Hunt.
Yeah, I was baby.
Okay, you had little bitty old short mini on diapers, and we had a gander that would pick on kids, he'd catch them and flog them. But Papa comes out of the hole right out there, and that gander had you, and you was really trying to get it. His feet was holding him, and Papa picked up a stick of sawwood and whacked him right across the neck. That was the end of the gander.
Oh.
Killed him right there. That thing whirled up dead.
I remember we used to have to run around the house 3 times, sometime before practice, to get an appetite.
Yeah.
And during that time, we had another gander or something. Got after
And there's no gobbler.
Gobbler got after Christmas. I remember that old gobbler. He was bad, and I had a BB gun, and there was some crossfire down there by that buggy shed somewhere. I struck on, and I shot that gobbler right there on the neck. That gobbler got all awful sick, head swelled up, and popped there. Never did know what happened to that gobbler. We had a lot of fun.
On Saturday, we got a head one. And Mama didn't know how to wash heads. And wash and wash, and she keeps around, and she still, she takes a stone, put a wash right around, and just like rub the skin off. But she get ahead of me, but anyway, something to me, she did a water ready and everything. We had some turkey cooks down there, down at the spring. And Sister May, we went in, and both of us got one cook, had a little dent in the back and a big door, and both of us got this cook, and we peeked through that back. You hear Mama holler, my. She called me, and she called Sister. And we saw her going out with a tree. She broke her elbow. Uh-oh. And so, come right straight to that cook. She looked down there, didn't know why. She looked all around the house and everything. And I was peeping through that. Somehow, I just crawled out of that cook and went, and she wore me off. And so then she went to look at Sister, and Sister, they worked together long about this. She reached out and picked that cook up from the front, and Sister there peeping. And Sister there on the ground, whack right across the back end. And she come up and that in. And Mama was ready to get on.
Anybody listening to the tape should see Elton describe it in that chicken cook.
Lord, Father, can't you remember any
Yeah, I remember a lot.
You have had that one.
I never saw her this day. It's been so long.
We had a lot of fun though. Everybody always gathered at our house. I never know why. We were a little bit better off than some of them though. We weren't poor, we just didn't have any money.
Then nobody had anything.
No, but
Beck Allen and them, they're right back of them. Margaret Alice, one of them, they always all them people, good people, best people in the world, I guess. Margaret Alice was, she was my age. Gertrude, mine's dead now. Yeah, they flipped off and got married, see.
Oh, yeah.
Gertrude Southall, married that peach boy. She was almost exactly my age. Her son runs a store down here. What do they call him?
John, isn't it?
now Eddie wants me to stop and do it. We're going to get back to it.
Now we proved, he said other day, told Virginia the other day, they did it. Her mind had gotten real bad.
Since that she lost her daughter.
Is there anything else we want to talk about before we go to Garrison?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Okay, now, didn't you get in the car and run us through a fence?
Well, wait, let me ask you. Get you to tell you about planting corn. Down the
He might not want to tell that.
Yeah.
What else to tell about that?
I think that was funny.
We like to go ahead before I do.
Anyway, Papa had, when it plowed the first time, you have skips in the cornfield.
Yeah.
Had one of the kids to go along and two grains at a time, drop between them skips, then the sulfate come along and cover it up.
That's replanting your corn.
That's the way we plant corn. Well, you didn't have, well, I won't, but anyway, there's a little field right down the creek there, and Eugene had replanted. And I don't know who was flying the cultivator, but we would go down on Saturday evening and set our top mine. Somebody was, I got hooked on. Then we go back Sunday morning and run them. See?
I believe Clyde was out there at that
I
time.
was somebody was on hooked on. But we got halfway down through the field, you could see a rock, flat rock right there.
And you could see
Hey, come up the rock fence, right.
Yeah.
And you see this flat rock right there big, and that thing is raised up about that high. You can see it all the way across the field.
He's pointing 3 or 4 inches from stop at the table.
I know Eugene get way behind. I didn't know why then. And Papa, the way we went right by. I never really get his little rock there. Papa went and picked up that rock, and he pulled his horn out and then put it off on top of it. Right out in the middle of the field. You know, put up a rock fence.
Papa never did understand it, did it?
See this corn was cleaned up, and it was so thick they just raised that
You know,
rock.
it was a rock fence. There was a rock fence.
Yeah.
Y'all remember the rock
Yeah.
fence? All that run right down through that field. And part of that was with us, and the other part was Monty Arms over there or somebody.
And old you, I'm going to tell one other thing, and I'm through. had an old mule that he worked. Papa put him to work pretty early. He put all
Well, Elton was 5 or 6 years older than me, and he just fell for me to go to the field with him.
And he was up middle, and I was picking up flowers, say with a cold flavor. And well, it take the place for a man. That's what it meant. Back then, if you wanted to rent a place, sharecropping, you had to have tools and you had to have a family that could work it. The people weren't food ready. This mule going away from the barn about 11:30 in the day, going away from the barn, he'd hold his head aside. And if that bell rung when they're going away, you turn right around and took the straightest shot to the barn.
This is in the bottom, about a quarter of a mile from the barn, across the railroad track where that Middle Tennessee train used to run.
Well,
I forget you got a film out of that.
That mule knew that he'd go to house in Eugene. Well, Eugene would try to catch the double shovel on one of them tracks, the railroad track. If you missed that, the mule stopped at the watering trough, at the mule, at the house, at the barn, and the mule double shovel and all. And you would have to come back and hit the mule back up and double shovel, go back to work after that.
Usually Elton would try to help me. If they saw it in town, they'd help me catch that, stop the mule. So that when you turn around, if you come back this way, if the field is out in the middle, he just crossed the road. He just got that gap up there. I'm not telling much tale. I just reach up.
Yeah, he hired Eugene early because he would work for, well, I guess work for me, and I was flying coal plant. Well, I'm 5 years old here. That makes a lot of difference back then.
With anybody that's never seen anybody bust nails, you can take a plank and put across the two shovels on the back and just have one shoe on it and then it right in it, and you can bust 2 roll needles at one time. And Elton's the only fellow I ever saw try to bust needles with one hand and read with the other. He had a book down there in the bottom, and I think Papa found that book on the Johnny Bragg down there. Never did understand how the book down there.
Well, another thing,
Yeah, Elton, when he was going to school at Southall, Mama made him carry an umbrella and get lost. And I don't remember this, but I want to tell on him something. And he'd carry it over there,
And they call me a stick.
and he didn't want to see him bring an umbrella to school. I can show that guy happened. So there was a rock fence over there, I believe. And he had that rock, hid his umbrella behind that rock fence. But he come in ringing wet with all the kids chasing out under the umbrella. But one day Papa found that umbrella over there, when else come home.
But that's how much sense I had. Hit it right by the path to the old farm over there.
And Papa never did understand that, did he?
yeah, he understood
That's
real
like
well.
beat me death. I thought he was probably gonna kill me.
A lot of things we did though. I'd like to tell about riding that buggy, but I ain't gonna tell that. We had a neighbor that had just a running frame of a buggy. I see this fellow every week or two. And had a plank through the middle of the, just a running frame.
Stuck out behind.
And stuck out behind here and still did. And had a rope to guide it with your feet. And we got up on that hill and we come off there this way. Angling a couple of times, did fine. So we got up there and tied straight. And there was a fence row, old sign on it. And when we crossed that fence row, we got air horn. Exactly.
Well, see, they had worked that, and that was a dream got around. We couldn't have
And they accused me of jumping off, but I then that thing threw me off and went on down there. And I looked down there right on top of Sam Quinn and Elton Jones. And Elton broke his little finger.
That
We can't tell everything. We can't tell about riding that. We can't tell about riding that pony with Charles Mitchell and all that.
We was racing. This little old horse I was riding, little old fitted. Eugene was behind me. We did all right going up here. We were beating Buddy. Buddy, great big old horse.
Well, we lost interest in that race, so.
We got up top the hill and started down. So you didn't have a saddle or anything on it, just had a bridle. And got going downhill, and before we went down, my feet got so I just stuck straight out there. I just there. You just said, he said, hold the brother, hold the brother.
I knew it was in trouble when I got up there and trouble that else at all did.
Okay, we're still on her. But she was used to turning this gate down there, when we go over there for cows. That's far as she ever went. And when she got there, she turned that gate.
Where's y'all going?
Right down the rock that's gutter you've ever seen. I don't forget why it didn't kill her.
It took me
Then Buddy's old horse run over.
both this thing again. Go over top of the elephant. I think I went far.
Eugene had knocked all over him.
They put me in
I
bed.
don't see why it didn't kill her.
Well,
Some way or another, he got the bad end. I guess you went over me some way. I don't know.
I guess I still holding you. I don't know.
I was quite on top of him.
You might not know all kinds of behind you. I don't know. But now we moved from there and 33 or 34.
No.
So I get back, I finished the grammar school, was
Yeah.
Southall, it's there. And the first year, I needed to go to Garrison, the grammar school.
Well, see, I started school in Southall.
Well,
Southall. Because Gene would carry me over there. We was walking and you picked me up and carried me.
You told me about that the other
And
day.
that's the reason I know I started, but I started when I was 5 years old.
You went barefoot, didn't you?
Yeah, I went
That's what you
barefoot.
did, and come
Mama,
back.
I begged Mama let me go barefoot, and she let me. And Gene had to carry me home or carry me to school. Susan said one thing she remembered so well was Mama's turkeys.
yeah. Let's go get them things every evening.
Had to go get them, and then you had to follow them to find the nest so you could get the eggs. And
I
then
told
have
you
it,
about going over the,
she had a big box, put meal in, or pan, put meal in, and she kept them, put
Yeah.
in the meal to take care of.
Yeah.
Now, part of her brother said he wouldn't eat cottage cheese because it looked too much like turkey.
well, you know those turkeys will get way back over on the back side, all the way to Blazer Road back over there. And it gets dark on you trying to get them home, and they try to go to roost in the trees.
Awesome.
And you have an awful time with them.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna do.
And if they ever want to roost a time or two, then when you come after them, they go roost again. They be murdered.
And when you go to hunting turkey nests, city people, or country people all know it, there's good skill to hunting, finding a turkey's nest.
Yeah, I think
Follow them, and they'll know you follow them kind, and they'll do it.
I called her and asked her, and that's what she said, it's sure helps.
Anything in the world you know ever said or anything,
Well, that's
you
what
shouldn't
she
tell it.
Oh,
saying.
a turkey would get sick and it all die just from nothing. If they got around something dead, you'd be driving them home, trying to drive them. They didn't drive good cows, I think. They're hard to drive. That's what you
You
said.
couldn't, just go up a tree, go dead.
And they took what they call lemon necks then.
Now, I remember.
And they die. You go along and just, I'll throw out in the fire, you just give up and throw them down and go on home. They're dying just a day or two.
Before we leave, I want to tell one about Eulala was mentioned a while ago. There was that 8 mile one, it was
I don't know, I just heard.
setting up, there was a good slope out from the Brown place, and there was a flat fence. And one was up and down fence, it was long, old country fence. And some way that car got to rolling, and Erdna and Eulala dragged it for a thunder, and went all the way through that fence with it. Am I telling it right? Yeah.
No, it was a Model T.
Model T, yeah.
It was a Model T.
And they never did turn it loose, but they didn't stop it. It went through that fence.
I knew it was something, I don't really remember.
Mama went through the fence. Hey, this was, tell you, she was carrying lunch over to the Roger Hummer place. We hadn't moved yet, but breaking land over there, you know, we done made a deal for it. And that boy was 25 miles forward. She must go through, she never could drive much. But she missed the gate altogether, and his post was front wheel.
Oh, we're still running?
No, we stopped. What, how long we didn't stop? I thought it was supposed to quit.
It hadn't been stopped long. I looked as far as it was still running.
Just the way I do it, just turn it over in you.
Yeah, this is just about over. I might as well stop.
You mean we've done all that wrong?
Remember I told y'all I don't know what I'm doing?
Folks, if we would get caught up in
Yeah, you ever been to Clifton?
Got something over
Can you
there.
remember when Miss Pointer run that little store there, they lived in the back of it? That store's still there. There was a room place right the other side of it.
It's a Miss Corsi.
This thing's running, I want you to know.
Miss Corsi.
We used to
Don't fool with me, I'll get you on this tape. And my voice is on it right now too.
You doing all right?
Niggas old, and they put 4 firecrackers in a little sack.
All they did, reach in there and scoop, get them out. Wasn't nothing wrapped up back then.
One time, I wanted to go to town, there was a brown,
She's faking.
The
She's
shit-
got a strap in front of her.
The strap's right down in front of her.
The strap?
you got the light on.
Oh, your strap. Oh, it's hanging there.
You can't see that strap.
Y'all quit telling me what to do.
Move your strap out.
No, it's not out of the way, it's hanging from the bottom. It's not in the water.
across that thing.
It's
not.
right upon her.
What'd you say about Garrison?
We're going to Garrison.
Don't finish that film.
We're gonna finish our film and then we're gonna sell it. And then we'll see how much valuable, see where we're gonna sort of price it around. I want y'all to tell us how you moved from the Brown place to Garrison.
I can tell you one way we moved. Gene and I drove, 8 or 10 cows. Drove the cattle up there from the Brown place to Garrison.
Well, did I ride a mare with
Yeah, you rode on a horse and I walked.
Oh my goodness.
That's nice.
That wasn't
But
fair.
I remember that.
I remember riding a horse up there, but I didn't remember driving the cow.
I'd have to go up and head them off at when the road turned off or a lane
Yeah.
turned off, I'd have to get by 'em. But we moved the cattle up there on the road walking.
Okay, do you know any other way? Is that all you moved? Then you
That's
moved
all I
everything with
remember.
the
That
truck?
was
or
I
what?
don't know sure, but
You
you
was
ever
out-
moved up there. I
you
guess
was out-
33. I don't know.
It had to be 33, because I started school at Hillsborough in 34. Because I finished in 37, 34, 35, 36, 37.
We passed Garrison Schoolhouse doing that, and B. Meacham came out there and tried to talk to us. He said, tongue-tied, you couldn't understand.
I forgot that.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
And, but that was our move from the Brown place to Garrison.
What,
We
did you
drove
move it
that.
away in a
As we
truck?
got up there in the summertime, the Mitchums would come down and they'd have company from Arkansas. Mr. Mitchum from Arkansas come up there once every summer, and they'd all come down. I guess every night they was there, and we'd all have a good time. That was Mr. Harold Mitchum's brother. And I was telling somebody the other day that Mr. Mitchum had a brother that lived in Arkansas, and they'd come up to Garrison and spend a few days with him, and they'd go out and get rocks and put them in a tow sack and carry them back to Arkansas because they didn't have any rocks.
That's just what I was fixing to say.
They had about 3 kids, one of them my age, and now B back then you couldn't understand anything he said, but he just kept trying. He finally got so he could talk, I guess.
The Mitchums were good neighbors.
Yeah, a lot of other neighbors, and we realized.
They were all right, and them boys worked harder than we did. They might have had money and things, but they worked.
The boys didn't have any money.
No, they worked.
They didn't know that their daddy had.
They didn't know.
No, they didn't.
Well, is that the doctor that had the drive at the cemeteries at Garrison and Hillsborough?
That's the
Maine?
one.
He
That
left
was
it,
Mr. Mitchell's brother.
yeah, and then he
He's from
also,
Arkansas.
gave some money on that new Hillsborough Elementary School. He furnished the library.
Have you all been up the little cemetery there at Garrison? I guess you have.
Yeah.
I drove up there since it's been concreted, and you know, there's people up there that I hadn't thought of in so many years.
You mean at Garrison?
The Garrison
That's where
Cemetery.
Pop's family's.
But have you all read that Claude Yates's book? I've read the most of it, yeah. I read the most of it. I don't know where it
What?
is now.
What grade was you in when we moved to Garrison?
I have to think it was the second or third.
Yeah, well, I'm 5
It
years
has to
old.
be the third, cause I started
Maybe
school,
the third.
because I started to school is south of.
Did you?
Mhm.
Okay, then I was in the third or fourth then.
First or second,
Where
third,
did
fourth.
we live when you started school south of?
We lived over on the Brown place, and, you know, we was talking about Gene helped carry me.
Well, get back to the other little, was three of us born at the Brown place?
Erna was, and you was, and
Well, a while ago you was talking about Earl.
Earl was born
Oh.
on there,
Well-
last time he lived at Brown place.
Well, I say, well, all three of us born to,
what year was Earl born in?
Eulala was born, Miss Robbins, is that right?
I guess it'd have to be.
Yeah.
No wonder you laid the oddball.
What year was Earl born?
Well, we said back a while ago, I don't remember.
I just heard y'all talking, I didn't follow it.
Well, on there, I don't remember what said Earl was born. He's 5 years younger than me.
No, it was in this film a while ago y'all
Yeah.
was talking about.
26, I was born in 26, so he was.
Who was teaching school when you went to Garrison?
I can't
1931, I guess.
remember that.
We got to get back
Who
to
was
Garrison.
teaching school?
I don't know,
When did the
Well,
Carruthers
that'd be the
woman
last
teach
year I
that?
was there then.
She might have been
Yeah.
teaching then. I believe Miss Mosley came the next year.
yeah, there was somebody
Yeah.
I never heard of. Anna Dean said BF went up there to school to her. And I don't remember who was teaching there when we,
BF went to school at Garrison?
1 year.
Well, there was,
From where he lived
Uh-huh.
in Hillsborough?
That's what Anna Dean was talking about, but I don't know who was teaching up there when we moved up there.
BF. I'm not talking about him, but
And we have
BF,
taken
mother
this.
and daddy were very peculiar people. They thought BF on my prison, like Paul and Jake Quinn. They slip off and play together, but, he was, I don't
She said,
know.
well, the
I
engineer
spent
need it, says I just.
maybe
don't
2
like
nights at BF's house, I don't know where back then. And Miss Edmond was, to me, an awful good woman.
I didn't.
I'm mad.
I don't know, she didn't get out as much, she didn't get out much.
Well, she was a Sullivan one.
Yeah, but
They
she
pretty
was
good.
mighty
She was a fox,
good.
wasn't she?
Yeah,
She was a fox.
Fox, yeah.
But
Is that-
Carruthers, Mr. Brothers, that's the name was,
Yeah,
in our school.
Cousin.
And if I remember right, she couldn't see very well.
I don't remember. Must be the year when we got there.
The Carruthers girl, and she couldn't see too good. Now, I didn't go, but I heard them talk, and in the back of the room, you could even get up and slip out, and her not even know it, I've heard say, that she couldn't see.
Well, see, you can,
And then
I don't remember.
and then Miss Lillian Mosley, and then there was a Miss Smith come in there and talk.
Mary Smith.
She talked later.
She died with a brain tumor. She was just a young
But
kid.
she taught school after I finished.
She taught after y'all left.
No, after I finished grammar school, she stayed. Miss Mosley,
They lived in Cookville.
yeah, Miss Mosley and Miss Thelma Williams and Mary Smith. And some Glenn, somebody talked about half a year, they stayed.
But she
with
stayed
me.
with us, didn't she?
Lynn Brixton.
Yeah, Glenn Briggsby.
And I was telling Nelson one day, Wilson Denton came down there and somebody got sick for him a few weeks. And he came down and taught at Garrison for it.
Who?
Wilson Denton.
He come down there and taught?
And he came down and taught us just on a substitute basis.
Well, Earl started to school in Garrison, so Miss Graham read. And Mama always thought he didn't get quite a fair chance because he didn't get to go to school with Miss Floyd. Now, I heard Mama say that she wished Earl could have gone to school with Miss Floyd.
Well, that's the only reason I know the dates, but I know when I went to school.
Yeah, well, I
know when I
don't
finished
remember.
school.
Do you remember the swimming hole?
Yeah, I remember something.
She was swimming real early in life.
You know what she'd do off that bank? A belly flop was. Maybe that's what it's
You
called.
know,
Little belly flop.
that had many people, many kids ever had what we had right there.
Oh, no, really, we didn't realize it.
So, why everywhere we lived, we was poor, why did everybody come to our
I
house?
don't know, I think about
It
that
worked
a lot
all,
of
when
times.
we was at the Brown place, all the kids come to our house. When we was Miss Robbins, all the kids come to our house. And like you was talking, even up in Mags.
Yeah,
They come to
all
our
comes
house.
out, I don't know why.
I tell you one thing, I want, we talked about Uncle John, and we've got that on tape, I've got it on tape from last time.
I think I
But,
said, I didn't even know her, but I
about
did.
Uncle John Hunter, how he helped us, what a good man he was.
Yeah, they had.
And then he got the cow off away from little
Yeah,
brother one time.
he rescued me.
He rescued. I heard old brother Hunter help way down. He was up in a buckle hole.
What was it?
Uncle John Hunter.
Yeah.
What was the matter with you?
Oh, I thought that little Jersey bull was gonna attack me. He was pawing the ground down there and bellowing at me.
Uncle John got a rail and went up there, and I thought he saved your life.
Well, yeah. Well, I did too at the time.
What was I I've heard Uncle Henry say, I've heard somebody, he said it, I don't know that. He went up there and got Thad James, Uncle John one, and he said when he moved the bed, it was clean under the bed.
Well,
And said, when it's clean under the bed, you better believe it was a good housekeeper or something like that. Now, you've been all up in this since we was there.
Yeah, I went up there a few years ago.
But now, we need to, we gotta get on what happened along.
I can't really remember. I had a lot of things. Now, sister wanted to know, now this don't go on Garrison, but did Daddy, before he married or right after he married, ever carry the paper, the mail?
Yeah.
Well, that's what she thought.
Who?
Daddy carried the mail.
I can even tell you why he carried it.
Where?
Where he carried it and why. The post office in Grandpa's store, see,
Yeah.
and he was, politics. What you call him, substitute, carried in a boat. That's where
Shaw.
he got to know.
Mr. Shaw, wasn't it, or Mr.,
What?
was it Mr. Shaw that he, no,
No,
Robinson, Mr. Robinson.
What?
Was it Robinson's substitute?
Clint Robin, no,
No, this is when
See, but
Daddy.
he was Caldwell's substitute.
Caldwell.
Caldwell.
Okay.
Old man
Well,
Caldwell.
Only three I knew in the
Papa didn't carry the mail while we lived at Garrison.
No, it was back, I think maybe before he married.
No,
I
this
don't
was
remember
back,
carrying the mail.
It's back, sister
back
just.
when, way back,
Yeah.
maybe right after they married.
Well,
or
he didn't,
something.
she didn't even know if
And
it
he
was
got
there.
to know Billy Henry's daddy and them people. He went, out through Kingfield and down and up on them hollows.
How did he carry it in a
Buggy.
buggy?
I think that's the reason that Hillsborough got to be known as Leipers Fort. It seems like Mama told me it was Hillsborough to start with, the post office there. And they had the Hillsborough up in Coffee County, and they had to change the name of the post office, so they changed it from Hillsborough to Leipers Fort.
So it was Hillsborough, and then Leipers Fort,
That's
then
the way
Hillsborough.
I think Mama told me.
Oh, okay.
The train used to bring the mail out there and down backyard. Now, I told this, Paula couldn't remember it. Then he finally said, yeah, I do remember it. Of course, they put mail off and everything up at Southall Mill. That's where the depot was. But right back, Grandpa barn down there, you remember it, where you call, they had a little old place there where they put that pop car that Mr. Anglin worked on the railroad there. Okay, there was a thing built there right on the side of the railroad track with some kind of a fork on it. And they'd come by there and they'd hold the bag up and they'd drop the mail down and they'd walk down to Grandpa's to get it.
And the train never would stop.
No, it wouldn't stop.
I just throw it out.
And the same thing going by somewhere, but now that was just for a short time. I told Paul I could remember it. He said, well, he never heard it, never thought. Then he finally said, yeah, it was. It's right back to their barn down there.
Well, now, when we moved up to
And that house
Garrison,
was there until Buford was married.
the road on up above us went up that creek.
Went up the creek.
One day,
So,
Yeah, Papa in the WPA moved that road.
Yeah.
Papa was the foreman on that.
Well, I remember,
that's when.
going up, Aunt Thelma's there, that road was in the creek.
Oh,
Do you ever remember the creek, Pinewood Road being in the creek?
I mean, well, he's retired, but he's down in Macon, Georgia.
And that
I might remember a little of it, it was in
right
the
down at
creek.
the bottom.
The first part of it got up there, it was in.
Jack Park was in there talking he's younger than we are, and I am.
You know,
He's
he had
71.
three children, I was
something,
down the time he got out
And
there.
he's talking about that Pinewood Road going up through there, and I just can't remember it.
I can't remember that.
But we didn't go up Pinewood Road that much.
I don't remember going up the creek, but I know it used to go up the creek because.
Well, I bet he just heard it.
Yeah, I just, because I'd heard it. But now I do remember going up Kingfield. I remember it went
Oh,
up
no,
the creek.
when was
Now, I remember Bert Davis from the bridge down there,
Get that bunch of other animals, yeah.
it was in the creek,
But I mean, he never get no trouble, but I mean, just,
not all the way along, but
kept them
up
all pinned the needle on.
along where that spring is and on up
He settled down and
Oh.
last 20 years,
to the turn and went up to there. I remember when it was in the creek.
his brother just young.
It had a place,
It run right along. I bet it took gonna go.
What year did y'all finish Hillsborough, Garrison School?
He was
Well, I guess.
When did you finish Garrison?
I finished Garrison School in
he retired from,
37, 38. I finished high school in 42, so it would have been 38, I guess.
Y'all had a big class.
maybe.
Garrison School.
Yeah, you had.
Yeah, we had nearly as many that finished the 8th grade in Garrison School as finished high school in Hillsborough.
Really?
No more.
Yeah,
Well, about half as many.
there was only two finished Garrison, Lois Harris and me, when I finished.
There was 6 or 7 people, maybe 7 or 8 people that finished.
I believe it's 7, 8 people, y'all, somebody, I've seen a picture of it.
How often did you, why to get into school?
I just know of one time.
One time, I remember talking about it.
I remember it's probably the same time,
how many
Miss
teachers did
Lillian
you have
Mosley,
there?
we had just one teacher. Miss Lillian Mosley was teaching there.
B. Beecham
They
carried her
had to
out.
carry her out. They carried all the little ones out, B and Hardy and, Van Dyke, no, J.C. Anderson. They
Yeah.
carried all the little ones out, and, they always said that B carried Miss Mosley out.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
Well, he had a pretty good arm for
he
it.
had a good arm for her, but he carried her out. And I don't know if he was still stuttering at that time.
I remember
2 or 3 years.
that time, Mr. Mitchell and them had a
So that gives.
Delco plant or something.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
lights in the thing, and they had a kerosene refrigerator. You could tell they
Really,
were
I don't, like I said.
well off, but they didn't show it
They didn't
much.
show it.
Child porn,
Oh.
I've been that 10, 15
And I remember
years,
the
so I come
view
to-
getting away from me, and Mr.
I guess-
Macklemore Hardison said if it was gonna run it on the road, and put wheels on it. I always liked Macklemore Hardison.
And you
Pretty
didn't
good.
like him?
Huh?
You didn't like
I
him?
did like it.
I thought he was a likable
Yeah.
fellow.
Mike Moore
He
Harrison
stayed
was
26 and a half years.
a good person.
Yeah.
He was a good neighbor.
And he always
He was a good
kidded me about Lois County a little bit, and
He finished
if
high
you went over there to
school
get a
when he was
bushel of
17.
potatoes, I believe it was, I went over there to one of the bushel of bags, he stacked that rascal up, said, I said, well, they'll roll off or something. He said, it says, as you measure, we measure to you.
He always,
That's the way he did it.
But
You
Jimmy,
you go over there to help him fill a silo, there'd be a wagon or two in front of you.
Yeah, that's right.
Go to Mr. Mitchell, he'd run it, come on, boy. I never did work for Mr. Mitchell much as you did, so any.
Mike Moore Harrison, Mr. Harrison, but Jimmy, he had a vegetable place there, sold vegetables, watermelons, but he had a, right across the road from his house, he sold watermelons and
yeah.
tomatoes and everything.
26.
And we stopped there and
You know, after 20.
bought a watermelon and some tomatoes. And he always give you a good measure, but I don't care.
26 is where you get
So,
the big page out.
just, we paid him just full out left.
Pound or 30 would be enough.
I knew he didn't know who it
So
was.
Roy made a.
I told him who it was. And, he talked a long time and he bragged on me to Virginia and that kind of stuff. And, but all the time they put some more tomatoes on.
Because you know, he run for Senate or something one time, because the Mitchums all called him senator.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. I didn't know why they called him that.
That's because he run, and of course he didn't do no good, and that was making light out of it. Mr.
They didn't
Mitchell,
like each
didn't nobody get along. Mr. Mitchell didn't get along with him, and he get along with Barnes Beasley. He didn't get along with people too good, Mr. Mitchell did.
You remember that, there was a couple of hogs came over to Mr. Meacham that he didn't know who was in water. And, Papa found out that Mr. Hardison had 2 hogs that had got straight off somewhere. And it turned out that Mr. Hardison's two hogs had gotten up to Mr. Meacham's.
This is Colonel and Lieutenant,
And,
Major and then
Mr.
Lieutenant Colonel and Colonel.
Mr. Hardison told Papa he could just have them, he'd go get them. And
Well, I
Papa
guess-
wouldn't go get them. He said he didn't want to get into
Well,
that.
I guess that wasn't a good idea.
Yes,
Do y'all remember having to go to the cellar when the storms
See,
came?
we'll go ahead.
Y'all might not think, don't you remember having
Oh,
Daddy
yeah.
making us go? I remember one time, maybe that's some of y'all there, and it was a real bad cloud, and Dad got us all going down there, and Aunt Mag and Mama was standing up to, wouldn't go in, trying to get the oven to go in. And finally, Daddy really had to get rough, well, not rough with him, but he told Mama to get on down there so Aunt Maggie could go. Mama was being nice, letting Aunt Maggie go first.
That's being too polite,
But
wasn't it?
Daddy told me, says, you're gonna get rolled away.
You know, when we moved to Garrison, that was a good move.
Just like
Yeah, that's a good.
going uptown.
And the one, I don't guess there's a better person named Mag.
Oh, no.
And one named Mag, I ain't, and one, my husband, I don't.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Uncle Joe and
She was
Grandpa
great
were brothers.
grandmother's sister,
Uh-huh.
and
She
Uncle
was a
Joe
three.
was grandfather's brother.
Yes, he stayed in about 30 years.
Well, do you know how many was killed during
Come
the
out, stayed out a while.
cyclone up there, when it was, I know of one, two of the
I don't
boys
know.
that's killed, and well, they buried in that graveyard.
Now, none of Aunt Mag's children were killed.
I don't think.
One,
There was about 5 Martins down there, and one day, there's a whole bunch of people down there.
well, was they Mag there when the cyclone?
Yes, they were the ones that got blew away, and Cousin John,
He was crippled something.
he was hung on the telephone wire.
Heard of something, I remember.
And they said as the bed went out from under Aunt Mag or something, she caught Cousin Margaret. But none of them, because that was something I read in a book or something, said that when Uncle Joe got all of them together, that they
But it
got
did
them all
blow the
together.
place away.
Oh, yeah, it blew the place away.
And left the floor.
Seems like I heard something about they used the same baluster in the old house that was in the one that blew away or something like that, I don't know.
But I think that's one reason Daddy
What
was so
year
frightened.
was that? What year was
I
that?
don't know.
1909,
Oh, I don't
1910?
know.
I don't have any idea. I don't know how old that house
I
is.
think it's 1909.
I guess we heard it.
But I don't know that.
Well,
Well, they were the ones that was killed, did they live down in the Smith House place, you call it? Where did you get Smith House from? Was it 2 people on there or something?
I think that was his name, Smith House.
Okay. Yes, you're right, I hadn't thought of that. Watch it, Eddie.
Be careful, if you're tired.
Excuse me.
Rest.
Yeah, we put off like we had.
I'm gonna turn this down.
I'm gonna say somewhere,
Is it gone now?
Papa was hard to get along with. He
Al,
had-
you all wait about you. She's,
Okay, well, this is
we just talked about now, maybe on this recorder.
It's got my head right across somewhere and bled all over everything. I couldn't,
What'd you do, hit you with the wrong end?
yeah, he got me up all right.
I guess you got, well, I tell you what now, couldn't anybody holler any longer and any harder than Mama at little brother? Amen.
He had the record.
Yeah, she'd say, no. Yeah, I mean, you know, it would start and just stretch on it. Yeah, and you'd hear, boop, 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 boop.
His shoe, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, wouldn't be him.
No, it'd be not.
He would go,
I remember one time, I don't know where I've been, and I stayed out too late. And when I come in, the moon was shining, and I coasted around by that barn, turned my lights off, and coasted up out front. When Pop hollered next morning, Sunday morning, I jumped right out of bed. And I had it made, and Sunday afternoon, I always help Mom around the kitchen a little bit. We was washing dishes, and I dried them. She said, gee, where was your shoes last night? That was all that was ever said. That was all that was ever said. And that got away to be what? But she never did tell Papa. But that's all she had. And I remember another time I was helping with the dishes. I told her, we talked about that a while back. I told her several times. And it got time to wash the pot, you know, the old iron pot. And she wasn't in there. She went out, so man, I put the dish pan down on the floor and put that pot in it. Boy, what a mess I had. She come in and says, son, you don't wash the pot in the, you know, we just wash the inside of it. And it really got away with it.
Well, and didn't they tell them that when you dry the dishes at night in the wintertime, the dishes will
They sweat.
they freeze together.
They sweat. I
Make them
never could
sweet.
convince mom and them that, the dishes sweat.
Oh, they didn't sweat.
Go out there, you watch, you'll see things.
They froze together.
They do something, they sweat.
Well, as long as okay, now, when did y'all start going to service? I guess we missed a lot of stuff. Real important things.
Medicator, what is
Uh-huh.
it? That's what it's called when you,
What are you saying?
trying to figure out what you are.
That's right.
What do you call these people?
What if the dogs out said they'll be here till tonight and we might have to feed them something?
I'll tell you something we enjoyed too. We enjoyed Aunt Mag's folks.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was Cut Howard, and I look at the stones up there sometimes, and there's some I see, and Cut Walter, and there's several of them. What's on the rest of them?
Claude?
Who?
Claude?
Who?
Claude?
Yeah. Now there's stones up there, and I believe I've heard Cut Howard say, or heard he said that they were half brothers and things in there.
Yeah,
And
the
said he
old.
could never tell no difference in how they were treated or something.
Well, the two or three oldest ones of Aunt Mag, of the man, Uncle Joe.
I wonder who he's married to the first time.
I don't know, but somewhere along the line, the oldest one, the next one was widowed, but he widowed happens to a man. And Aunt Mag helped raise those, so everybody said that went to show what a good. She was so kind to the stepson that she raised her step grandchildren. Aunt Mag was a good person.
I can remember, the biggest thing I remember about her is standing out there off the back porch and comb my hair when she washed.
It was real pretty white,
Oh, it's pretty.
just as pretty as it
Well,
was.
Aunt Mag was, I guess, your mom was could be. I wasn't there as long as you all were.
Yeah, she was a good woman.
And I did something else. I don't reckon on John, I managed to manage to go flying.
I think he was a good man.
I remember when I was sick upstairs, they come up there and stick his head around and come up and stick his head and then visited me a little. He come see Aunt Mag. Aunt Mag caught a lot of the people.
Yeah, and then he didn't y'all say he wore his shoes on one foot and then turn them around and changed to wear them on another foot? And what was it you was telling about him working out in the corn crib one night trying to.
That's getting up potatoes. We dug potatoes, and after supper, after it's dark, we heard, Papa heard something scuffing around out at the corn crib, and it's Uncle John trying to put those boxes of potatoes in the crib. And you see, he just got a little out of practice, took him a little longer than it used to.
Well, I knew it was something, but I
He
couldn't.
couldn't lift those boxes of potatoes.
Hey, did you ever lay down and drink out of a spring?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one down there below the road.
We had about two up that drain, up through the, one you big flying up there or
Yeah.
something.
There was one right at, just before you went out of Uncle John's up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
That
there's
left
another
there,
now.
that was a good spring there. That ain't where I stood on Elson's head. That was down at Miss Robbins.
I didn't know what Jack was telling on him.
That was good water.
Oh, you could, I remember climbing up on top of that hill, and you walk down to the spring down there, and by the time you got back up to the hill, you're just as thirsty as you were when you started.
You
Y'all,
know about the rockiest thing I ever plowed in though was that first
You
field
know, they
on
always
the
talk
right.
about everything getting
You
forward,
could,
we used to take out of the creek.
You couldn't even get a plow in enough in places to make a good track till where you been, best I remember.
I don't know.
But if you get some rain, it make good pull.
The rockiest I knew of was that first field before you hit that fence. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
On the field. On the left there on that slope was the rockiest I remember.
That whole front first field there was rocky.
We didn't work it much, so did we?
Well, we worked 2 or 3 times.
I remember some
Well,
sisters.
there last time.
I remember gathering corn up there one year by myself in that field.
You said that was a job.
I think it would be. But you know, I think one time, sister, real athletic, whatever, and she was gonna jump that front fence, and she missed.
Yeah.
She caught the ball.
How did you know what happened? I was with her. I went down there and jumped, when I went over that, just jumped over that fence. And she looked at it and she tried to jump it, and she didn't quite get it.
I know, she cut herself. And she and I both at different times, used to go up that Garrison Park, across that, I remember she would walk across that bridge up that Garrison, going up Boston Hill, and she slipped off, and she cut her finger.
If you don't collect it,
No, hurt really in her
Was she
finger.
with her?
No, but I remember,
Kirby was with her when that happened.
I didn't know who was with her, but I remember it really tore her head up. And, but then years later,
Expose them somewhere.
she a lot older
They
than me.
catch you.
She's just 10 years
They
older
don't
than
have an
me.
EPA number.
But won't be long till she'll be 11 years
Well,
old.
see, they come back on the first.
Won't be long till she'll be 11 years older than
You
me.
remember when this.
But
sad
sister will be 11 years older than me in March.
You know,
You were born in
NES is
26.
still paying on that.
And, but I used to walk that Garrison Bridge, but then that was crazy.
What year does this leave?
I don't
Aunt
know.
Maggie's place.
And then I can't remember.
And, see,
How long was
you
she
supposed to
married?
She left
they
down
catch you,
about
you know, like you change your.
36.
Well, that's what happened, what I'm talking about.
She was living, maybe before.
And here, but anyway.
She was living down there in Hillsborough when
It cost us more.
with Larry, when I
You know, we
finished
had the
school.
gas pumps taken out.
Yeah.
And if she might have been living down there in 36, I
She
know she
lived
was down there
with
in
Uncle Bunny.
36.
Just let me pull those tanks out.
he was born in 37. One,
Huh?
Well, the
he
big
was born in
tank.
he's
I'm telling you what,
he was 23 years old the day Larry was born.
$20,000, get those two tanks.
That's right, he's born on his
17,
birthday.
19,
That's right.
14
just-
and 23
Well, they
is
bought a big backhoe out there.
37.
That's when you figured
How
it
First
would be.
long took and had, and the backhoe was big enough that they.
They
I didn't know whether it was
27.
a year. I knew I'd go down there during school time, stay some.
And had a low boy trailer there instead of both on, he was gone with it.
Yeah, they lived in
2
Uncle
hours.
Bunyan's.
I used to have a cot behind the
Yeah.
coal,
Well,
and
see,
stay
but
with,
here where you come in though,
Kirby and sister.
he had to take all that dirt.
You know, Elton
and pile
in
it
that
next lot on plastic.
I know, I didn't know
And
that.
stay, stay over a month.
Sister
They
was
didn't blow that
born.
pump back up.
That's
5th of March, 1916, and she married Kirby
They had
Well, then
some-
why was that?
14th of March, 1936.
Well,
Nine-
they had
30
to go
what?
and inspect the
Six?
dirt every
I was
day.
kind of thinking that I went down there, that
She
there
was
would be a little.
Be one of
I didn't
them.
know.
So 36.
They told us, and of course,
She
we
had
had to
to-
get bids on it, and they told us.
Well, you know, they married
"If you run into
secret for a
trouble,
while."
we'll go away."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
But I mean, that was, you know, we'd be in good shape.
she had to leave up,
The lady told us,
she had to leave
He told me, he said,
35 or something.
gas in
And
the.
she had the baby down there in
There might be a
36.
little bit
No,
more
she married in 36.
Married in 36.
He was born in
But then
37.
They won't let you
And
take
the
they
baby
born
was born in
37.
37. That's
I don't know
right.
what to do.
When did Kirby die?
You had to.
I just lost my place.
No, they had to go.
I'll tell you
But we were living, if we moved up where we are now, 73, he died in 73. I think I'm right, I think we lived in the trailer.
1973.
That's
That's
right.
what it costs.
I don't know what month or anything.
I remember one time,
June.
out there milking. It was in the lot there at the farm.
And
Papa come out there
Well, she got-
awfully upset with
Turnbull
me.
up in Kentucky, she ran south.
And he told him,
You don't have
pretty
to
straight, this and that about, and he'd been
You know,
peeking in the window.
they got-
He'd say something out of the way. And I heard him say later, said, well, if I don't get married, I'm set off, I said, or something like that. But now, I can remember that, and I was out milking a cow or something, but he got off the track.
You know what Papa did when they told him to marry, come right straight to me and jump on.
But I mean, if we,
about it.
if they'd found.
Well, I remember what he done right after, right after, he was
sitting
sitting there and he was so lonesome, he said, well, let's walk up and see the beaches for a while. And he got up there and he told him, says, well, Laura was so worried, said, I just thought we'd walk up here a while. It was Daddy that was deferred, you know, was,
I remember Kirby had a roadster Ford, one of them. Kirby had a little old roadster Ford or something. Sharp little car, had a rubber seat on
I
it.
remember that.
And the popular song was Red Sails in the Sunset at that time.
oh,
I remember that very well.
Cause they take, of course, spend $100,000.
I remember we put a timing gear in it.
Did you do it?
Paul and Kirby,
I
man.
mean,
They all told
down,
you that was
right, pull it right in by the woodshed down
Cause
there.
and that's the reason you're getting all these big stations now. You've got to pump a lot of gas to pay to stay open.
They go out bad, you know, flood.
You remember one day we went down to the
96 right there. Then it's
store?
really a nice one in there.
Might have been Sunday morning, I don't know
Like I
when.
said, they're all going big, but
Or
that's the
something,
very reason.
might have been to get
because
off the
they got-
fire, I don't know. You remember you used to run out of the
Yes,
back?
it was on Sunday.
And, we was coming back, and I run off in that creek.
That's on
And I
Sunday.
got, everybody got out, and I was up there, you later, she's jumping up and down, out in the middle of the road already.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tire, air of a tire, and told Papa, had a flat, and it didn't fly with him at all.
Sometimes I get tickled and I know this camera's going.
And, what I was doing, the radiator cap had come off that thing.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
And I was
what?
watching that radiator cap down on the side, that's what I was
They
told.
put a hole in
It's like
the,
air
Yeah, that's what I
top.
was saying, Elton, I remember fixing that hole in the top.
They put a hole in
You
the
know,
top.
if you doing air
Well,
conditioning work.
when
you
did
done
y'all
got
start
one of
going to
those air
service?
dealers that does it. You got
Huh?
one of those
When did y'all start going to
recycling machines. to do it.
service? Before the war, when
You know,
did y'all start
you
going to
can't-
the service?
Like now, I can put.
What year did you
$3
go?
in the car, but I can't go over store and buy.
August the 8th, 1942.
You need a little bit of
Every-
can
I was way behind
You gotta have
going in
one of
service.
them.
Okay, when did you go in?
I went in 41, but I don't know the date.
Okay.
Well, you know pretty good with
You can't do
41.
nothing.
I thought you and I went in about the same time, didn't we?
But now, you went
And then they claim that's
into
some
something
kind of
else, and it
old
came,
dog.
when did you go to the airport?
With R.B. Rady, and we went down to the, way we go in Nashville, and R.B. and I was together, and we're going in the Navy. And I've done pretty good, except I had just flat feet there. Every time they'd make you squat down, I'd have to catch myself, I'd have to lose my balance, so they turned me down. And Bob wouldn't go. We was coming back down that hall, and it said maritime service up there, volunteer, all that kind of stuff. I said, what do you think about that, Bob? He said, well, let's look at it. Went in there and asked about it. They said, yeah, we'd like to have you, thing. I said, well, I just turned me down at the Navy. He said, walk over that door and back. I walked over and back, says, you just right. I said, we want you. And Bob was gonna get drafted next day, I believe.
Oh.
And he and I joined that. And we had a little box about that big with all our clothes in it about. And we got down to, that's what we carried to maritime.
Went to St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg, and went down there, and they says, you go down there on the starboard side, then you turn port or something. I said, you tell us left or right. And Bob did. And we went in there, and we stayed pretty good, but poor Bob was in love with Kathy. And I thought I was in love, but I wasn't in love at all with what he was. And I kidded him a little, and he left that thing. And he had 1 penny when he got his clothes pressed and things. And he bought him a pack of peanuts. When he got home the next day, his draft papers. But I finished that, and I went to New Orleans on a ship, and there's 2 boys, Harry Phillips and Don Rolfe. And Phillips was a boxer, good. He won the Golden Gloves. He's pretty rough. And they left that ship, and I told them I couldn't stay there by myself. There's Panamanians. And I hitchhiked back through Alabama. You know how come I hitched back through Alabama? Come by and spent the night with your uncle down there that night. They come on home, and Harry and them come up through Louisiana. And that's the last time I ever saw Harry, but I saw Don a time or 2 after that. Harry, he got killed in the army.
Well, what year did Daddy get hurt? Do you remember? I don't know.
No.
1941, wasn't it?
What?
When did your daddy get hurt? What? No, it was 40.
Later than that. Little bit-
42.
Much later than
It was
that.
February, though.
Well,
Why
when did I have rheumatic fever? I don't, let's see.
It was in February. Now, you had rheumatic fever
I
when
was
Ellen was
there.
working
That's
before.
about-
Before when he.
Yeah, good while before.
That's about right, because I was went over Utah.
It was in 41. We were living in
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
41, because I
And it was in
remember,
February.
I was freshman in high school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
that could be fine. I was
Yeah.
thinking I went to service in 41, but I think I went
Ellen
in
and I
the
were
first
going together, I
41.
know.
And I just took basic and went to Wendover, and I got a wire. He'd been hurt, but he was a little better. I called Uncle Henry, no, Uncle Henry called me, I believe, and asked me, I said, "Do you think I ought to come home?" He said, "Yes, you better come. He is a little improved, you better come home." Asked me very strict if I could make it. And I borrowed $50 from the Red Cross, and that's one reason I still don't knock the Red Cross too bad. And I come home, and Papa had gotten better, and I was doing pretty good. I think I got 30 days or something on the emergency. Anyhow, I was up at Jimmy Christian's, and I wired back for an extension, and I got a reply says, "Extension denied, repeat denied." I told Miss Christian, I said, "I don't understand exactly what this means. I don't know whether they want me to come back or not." I said, "Look at it, see." She says, "You sure as H better get back out there," or something like that. I knew, I was teasing.
Well, brother, have you got any memories?
No, I've told you about all
You don't
that.
have any memories?
No,
Well,
I've told you
goodness
about
gracious.
I'll tell you what, I told Erdner, I'd have heap rather done what I done loading them planes and things than to been gathering corn up there by
That's what I
myself
say.
one day by myself.
And how long did it take you to gather a load?
As I remember that you gather 2 loads a day, you gather one in the morning and one in the afternoon.
By yourself?
Yeah.
That's a big barrel. It
That's
holds
pretty
six,
good, yeah.
holds 6
Well, that's
barrels.
what I say. I
on a
didn't
big
think you
deal.
could gather that much.
I want to correct something. We were in Philadelphia in 44. February 44 is when he got hurt.
When he what?
Got hurt.
Wait a minute.
Mr. Jones got hurt when we were in Philadelphia, and you went overseas in May after that.
Well, I don't know.
Why, yeah, because if I got sick in 41,
You
it would be later.
Well, I was kind of thinking it was later for me.
Yeah, I know it
But
is.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's later. Oh,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was 44 because we were up there. We married in 42. We went to Boston in 43. Came back to Philadelphia. in
Well, I
44.
knew, but I come to think of it, if I was sick
Yeah,
in 41.
I just got my dates
I got word,
confused in my head.
and I tried to call home, tried to call Uncle Henry. I couldn't get a line no way. Out there on the base, could not get a line. And somebody come in online. And, asked me if I'd sell. I told them yes. And they said, is Mercy? I told yes, ma'am. What type? I told them. And in about 2 minutes, I had a line. While I was still on the line, when I got through talking, this operator told me, hold on. I don't know exactly how she asked me, said, "How is your money to get home?" And I went by and picked up $50. We didn't have much money.
But we were fixing to go home.
Yeah, we was coming
You
home
called
to leave
to tell me
anyway.
when you were leaving, and I told you your dad had been hurt. I'd already got.
Well, I come back, I paid the $50. Somebody at Dad's office or somewhere, I paid it. They said, I almost paid it, said that was a gift anyway.
Well, they made it plain that if I couldn't have to, I think it was when I left Wendover. But now, I could have been at Marshfield when Papa got hurt. I don't know.
I don't,
Now, I'll tell you one
I don't know where we
other
were.
thing. When I was at San Diego, I was on the, I don't know.
See, we
how long
get plumb out of Garrison and
we
go.
done got away from Garrison again. What happened?
San Diego, we was there for,
I mean, maybe.
I don't know how many days was there. And I looked around, who you think walking up? Eugene.
Y'all run, y'all
You know,
saw
I
each
was at
other.
Marshfield then, and I got a wire, blank, 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 arrive at San Diego a certain time or something. And that's it. And I remember the name of the ship. It was a two-wheeler or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And I had a Class A pass, didn't have to ask nothing. And I guess I hitchhiked down to San Diego, and I hit it lucky. I found somebody, and they told me, and I went to there, and they wouldn't tell you nothing. And said, "Well, you go up to the shore patrol up there and ask about it." And I went up there and told them that my brother was in there on that ship, and that I hadn't seen him for a long time. It's been about 6 months, I think it's about 6 months since I did see him somewhere. Told him, and this fellow said, "Well, I don't know," but finally said, "Well, you go down and that ship's tied up." and you just see if they'll let you through that gate down there or something, tell them this, and you go in. Well, I went in there and walked out through there, and who was up on deck, Judy? Isn't that right? Elton. Well, we went in there, and I can't
Junior
think
D watch, that's what.
and we stayed there a pretty good while, and he cooked us some, he had a little better than most of them, some of them did. They cooked us some ham and eggs, ain't that right?
It fixed us a nice meal.
Nice meal
We
and
started
everything.
in to eat, and they
was going
pushed me out.
spend the night in that place, stay, and later on he says, I don't know, maybe you better not stay. I didn't stay a night, did I? I keep
No.
thinking I might stay one night, and that thing pulled out of that
Well,
night.
it's lucky you didn't
About,
stay.
about 1 or 2 o'clock the next
Might have been
morning,
in Hawaii or somewhere.
they woke us up or something. We was already out of the sea.
That's what happened to Bob when he was in there. You go to bed and you don't have, okay, where are we now? We in high school?
I don't know, you done covered a lot of time.
Well, I don't know, I gotta get.
Now, when did you graduate from high school?
45.
And Ernie, when did you graduate?
I graduated in 42.
See, I was supposed to graduate in 44, but then I had
You
remained
had,
big.
mhm.
And so they,
How long were you in bed before?
I don't remember, about 3 or 4 months. Well, I
Seemed
don't
like
know.
it was longer than that.
It
to me.
was, I guess, because when we went to the doctor to find out about me, it was cold and Daddy carried me.
What
You know,
year was this?
When I had rheumatic fever,
When? 41?
41.
Well, see, now that's the reason that I don't remember much about you being with a rheumatic fever. I
Yeah,
thought about it.
see,
That's about time, I guess I'd gone
I
to
was
the
sick
surgery.
about 6 months.
Gone to the, already gone.
And Lois
man.
Harris came
I know
and stayed with me.
Who?
Lois Harris, because, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
she'd come up there and stay with me.
I wish I'd have known more about where they lived when her grandson
Well,
was
maybe
out
you'll
there.
see them again.
Out there, cause all I took him was up to Swinney Hall. I forgot about him living down there in Smith House and things.
Well, that house is gone.
Huh?
The house is gone. There's no house up there.
It's not.
I know.
What year did we move to the Swinney Hall?
Where's his wife? Is she dead?
I know, you moved.
Papa moved to Swinney Hall.
Oh, I know where you moved.
46, and that
He
was
moved a
40
year.
in August. They moved.
I left home that Christmas,
That's right.
and that was either last 46 or first 47.
Well, evidently, all of us
That's
got
right.
married
I
about
remember that.
around Garrison. But you got married first. When did you get married?
42.
When did you get married?
42.
Well, have you got a date?
Yeah. September 29th.
Okay, 1942. When did you get married?
August 6th, September the 22nd.
You know, don't you?
You better believe I know.
Wait a
September
minute.
the 22nd.
Wait a minute.
Oh, just last Friday.
Edna, when did you get married? August 10th, wasn't it?
Not the 10th.
Huh?
And it was born the 8th.
We married the 10th of August.
10th of August,
No, no, it's
1942.
September. That's a birthday, excuse me.
You were so proud of what you said.
August the 10th.
August.
They married 2 days after that, form, right?
Let's see if
Ask me
the,
what your, ask me
And
what
the
birthday
Joneses
is.
moved to Swinney Hall either Christmas or the first of the year.
yeah, they moved,
And she had her first birthday, up there before she moved, and when Annette was a baby, 'cause I
Okay.
didn't get to go.
when was you born? I mean, when did you get
Miss
married?
Jones had her first
What
birthday
day?
dinner on the
April
15th of August,
17.
46.
Is that
And
right?
I didn't get to go, I just come home from the hospital that day.
Is that right? Okay.
Oh, no, she was up on Garrison.
I got
Oh,
married
yeah, she had them
Oh.
after that.
4th of July.
You celebrated, didn't you?
Yeah, God bless his heart. I got married 4th of July, 1947.
I'll tell you how come I got married. I thought a lot of Edna. And one time we was visiting up there, Edna's with me, and we was doing something around there, and I guess Mom and I in the kitchen or something. She said, now Gene, I'm not telling you this girl or any girl, but it's getting about time you got married. Settle down or something.
Well, I
And
don't
she
know.
didn't, she said, I'm not pushing her, just anybody, but, well, she didn't say just anybody, but she's getting ready for me to get, she's getting ready for me to get married, just tell you the truth.
Okay, Earl was, got married 11th of March, 1952.
52.
And then I think we already had sisters. She got married
She was 20.
20.
She was 20, she was born in 1916.
She got married 14th of March, 1936.
That's right.
So that's got all of the marriage
That way, she
dates. And we did do
Married when, 36? Yeah, that's what you said one while ago.
Yeah. I just thought we'd get them all while we was and then Mom and Daddy moved to, Swinney Hall.
You might say the first of 47.
I say so too.
After the
You
47.
lived the whole time you was in Swinney Hall.
No, I didn't live there. I'd already,
Oh, yeah.
I'd already lived with sister. Well, I ain't one living with sister, but I stayed with sister on the weekends. I lived, I just came home on the weekends, and Bob and I got married.
Yeah, she is.
Next
I bet
July.
Ronnie used to live on Coney
Did
Hall.
y'all get married before they left Swinney Hall?
Yeah,
You wasn't there the whole 14 years.
I wasn't there very little.
She married again.
Did you live there 14 years?
Nick Downs.
In Garrison?
Yeah,
Well, how long did Papa them live there? A little long,
She was
didn't
a rough.
but no, well, I must have lived there 15 years, because I was still there. I mean, coming home.
No,
You know, I
you
got
didn't get married before you moved to the
She the
Swinney
first
Hall.
woman
You
ever
got
kept
married
that
in
hair cut like
47.
a man.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Well,
kept
they
it
moved up there the first of 47.
They did, and then I got married July of 47. So I lived there all the time, they did.
Oh, you was down at Annan's working or something?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you, but you practically lived, you
Yeah.
still say you lived.
But that was just 6 months.
I need something well, I'd go.
And
I was
then
thinking you was at home the whole time that lived
First
there.
time I ever saw
And,
you.
and then I was home the whole time and lived at Garrison. That's really the only place I
You
ever
know,
remember.
I thought about going and buying one of, or seeing about one of the Judge Woman's books, just to talk to her. I get talk to her second and tell her, we used
I
to,
did. I stood in line 2 hours.
You did tell her?
Uh-huh.
What did she say?
She's real nice. She was real
And,
nice.
first day,
Well,
Gary's one of
Earl's the only one that ever lived in Garrison.
Jimmy and Janetta.
What?
Was Earl the only one that ever lived at Garrison? I mean, Swinney Hall?
I guess so.
Okay, Mom and Daddy lived there. They done real well there too.
When did they
She sure did do good there.
Now, that's what I can't remember. Before Kirby died.
Papa didn't have anything.
Right where you stood.
Papa didn't have no money when we moved to Garrison.
No, he had to put up his livestock as collateral.
Sure did.
For more money to pay down on that.
That's right.
And if I'm not mistaken,
That's right.
Mr. Mitchum told him, he advised him to buy that place up there. And I think he said he was thinking of buying it if he didn't or something like
I
that.
don't know about that.
Like, heard that.
Well, now I'll tell you something that Daddy did. I guess he learned it, maybe when he was working on that,
She used to sell
that road up on Garrison. He dynamited that, springs to bring it up.
I don't think she's doing it.
Out down there on Garrison. I mean, up in the Swinney Hall.
She was the business end of their business.
He dynamited that spring.
Seems like he did.
Some of them, where he got his water.
Business end of it.
You start thinking, because some of them said that if he did it wrong, it would sink it.
She was the bookkeeper.
And he said that he was gonna do it, and that's where he got his water. He dynamited that. Do you remember that?
I didn't know anything about it, I heard.
What spring are you talking about?
The
Below
one
the
across
road?
the road?
Below the road?
Yeah.
Well, now, we never did really drink out of that spring much or anything.
Well, that's where he got that water.
Huh?
That's where Daddy got his water. He
What
didn't
water?
use that well in the
No,
yard.
he ain't got
We
it.
had a hydrant on the back porch.
Well, it come from the spring.
No, and then there's water running out of that spring up to Garrison.
Oh,
You got two,
They talk about two different.
you're
Wait,
talking about
you
two.
thought one thing, she thought.
You're talking about Garrison.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
I got you.
good.
You're talking about Swinney Hall.
He put a pump in that spring.
In that
down there.
spring, but to get the water, he blasted that water.
Do you know what that water was down there? Wasn't up that branch water running in that spring.
But he got good water,
They
didn't he?
sure did, they drank it. I'll always believe it's just that coming right out of that spring branch.
Now, they had another spring up the back of the barn, didn't they?
Oh, it was a little 6 spring up above the back one. It wasn't much count. I'm just guessing at that now.
Well, then he had a spring up there, the very idea, don't make that sick before we.
Hey, who owned that place before? Way back yonder.
It's Pat
James
Lynch.
Martin owned that.
Who?
Mr. James Martin owned that place long before Pat Lynch bought it.
You know what he said? his wheat washed way up there one time. He's talking about it, says just take it up one side and down the other. I don't know whether the good Lord's for me or against me.
She done something.
Yeah, what was it?
James Martin.
I haven't seen anything else about it.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
You know, first time I remember anything about that place, they had a bucket, a cup there or something, and you come by there, you stop and get a drink of water, in summertime, anytime. And the first time I ever remember being at that place, Papa made, stopped there and got a drink of water.
Well, you know, I've heard them say that one time they got ready to go to the storm cellar up there, and they got in there, and there was a family already got in there before them.
Oh,
Who was that?
oh,
A couple of months ago, Jack.
I'll tell you, I don't know if it's him or not. but
R.W.
it was,
Harris. Got.
Oh, he's in there the other day talking about coming up there to go to
Free and all
the
right.
storm cellar when they had a storm.
And R.W. said,
But I
we
can't-
going down the road,
I
he
can't
said, let's
think
go
of it
to
right
Pierce.
now.
They didn't know who it was. I don't know, but I know they said that.
And they was already in there.
They's already in there.
Then, if you want to experience something, y'all be a grandmother and go to the storm
So
cellar.
we talked to him.
You take an axe and a grubbing hoe
Saw this girl, they used to
and a
work.
bucket of water
Moran.
and,
Line, put them lines.
some
in.
blankets.
And Harris and Sawyer. We stopped.
and you go to the storm house. You
That's
had to have something to dig out if say it was real slow, the house would fall on it, if it blew over, it might catch on fire.
You remember when the storm cellar was?
Grandmothers?
It's just
Oh, yeah.
Just before you went to back porch there.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking
Yeah.
You remember the dams and tree there?
Yeah. But
They
now
always
can
got dams and preserves at
He had to have
grandma's,
that same thing.
they were really.
Well, I remember at Christmas time at Grandma's. Yeah.
Johnson is a man, or was a man, who I think provoked intense feelings on both sides of the equation. He was, I think, greatly loved and greatly hated. Not just liked and disliked, but he was adored by some and despised by others. Some people remember him as kind, generous, compassionate, considerate, decent, and devoted to advancing the well-being of the least advantaged among us. Others describe him as petty, cruel, dictatorial, grandiose, and even vicious. Unfortunately for Johnson's reputation, it's more the latter than the former, which seems to hold you were born in a log cabin. And Johnson's supposed to have replied, no, 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 you have me confused with Abe Lincoln. I was born in a manger. Or, there was supposed to be...